Hi everyone, welcome back to the Social Media Derby. We've got episode 128 today. Bit of an emergency pod. We weren't originally going to do it, but obviously big games this weekend that we have to chat through. But before we get into the analysis, for those watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment and share if you can. And for those listening on the audio podcasting platforms, please follow, give us a 5-star review. All of that stuff helps grow the pod. And I think we're definitely going to need this, as we usually do. Views expressed in the pod are just for entertainment purposes, do not reflect the opinions of any affiliated people or organizations or anything like that. Just football banter. How are you lot doing? It's the Arsenal lads and me again. The last time we did this, it was a little bit cheerier. This one's off the back of the big game with Man City. How are you lot feeling? I know, you were saying you've had a difficult 24 hours. Jonty and Razor, has it been similar for you, man, as well?
Yes.
Silence is deafening.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's coming out the woodwork now. It's like you get pinged off of 5 different group chats. Everyone comes and talks to you about it. It's just, tough times.
Yeah, it's definitely been a tough weekend for you lot. We'll get straight into it because there's no beating around the bush. Pause. Man City 2, Arsenal 1 at the Etihad. Cherki opens the scoring in the first half with a great solo goal, and then Kai Havertz equalizes. I think it was less than like a minute and a half or less than a minute after that goal, closing down Donnarumma. A bit of a howler from him. And then a pretty even game all the way through into the middle of the second half. And then Erling Haaland scores what turns out to be the winner. Kai Havertz, I can't even count how many chances that guy had, but he had a lot of chances to either equalize or put you guys ahead. It ends 2-1. The title race looks like it's going to go down to the wire now. Arsenal 3 points ahead. City have got their game in hand coming up in midweek against Burnley. 1 goal difference in terms of your goal difference. City scored more goals, so if they win by a goal or more against Burnley, they will go top. Razor, I haven't heard from you yet, mate. What did you make of the game, and how have you been coping since the result yesterday afternoon?
The game itself, to be honest, I was almost pleasantly surprised in the sense that I thought we were going to be a bit whatless and without an idea. And I actually think, despite the result, I actually think that was probably more an impressive showing. I like to talk about like the football and steer away from the tweets. But I did see a tweet that said, had Arsenal played with the level of like sort of energy and intensity that they showed at periods during that game, they probably wouldn't have needed it. That game wouldn't have mattered as much as it did if we'd been able to play like that at any point in 2026. So yeah, the performance itself, I think, shouldn't be like revised because of the impact that the result has had. Like, it wasn't a diabolical showing. It wasn't really what a lot of people predicted in terms of like people expected us to try and haramble our way to a 0-0 draw. I think that some of the qualms that we've had about Arsenal this season, some of them are kind of answered. I don't know whether it was out of like a tactical change or just desperation, but as a looked like one of the most sort of bright sparks for us creatively. It looked like we actually watched some film and thought about who we were playing, like seeing us like play a high press on Donnarumma, who we know isn't great with his feet, as great as he is as a shot stopper, and he proved that time and time again in the game. But that's where our goal came from, and we had probably other opportunities there. So the game itself, the performance, I think, we obviously didn't get the result that we wanted, but I wasn't like super disappointed in the performance. I think things could have been worse. We've seen that City team blow teams aside numerous times. Do you know what I'm saying? I just think, it almost feels like a little bit of like too little too late. It almost feels a little bit like why haven't we been able to like generate that level of consistency or like sort of play to our strengths. And then, yeah, I guess like some of the tactical decisions, I think in-game management, a bit baffling, to be honest. I'm deliberately trying to look away from the bottom corner of the screen because I feel like looking at Io is going to piss me off. But yeah, like I don't understand how you look at how the team was playing and how the team was functioning in terms of that and decide to take like Eze off. Like, I don't even really care if it was down to like a fitness thing or a minutes thing, because like, what are you saving him for if not this game? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that was kind of completely mind-boggling to me. And then yeah, just I feel like we didn't take enough risks. I feel like we could have made more of a gamble with it, but ultimately you got to finish your dinner. Do you know what I mean? I think we hit post 3 times, hit both posts. That Ebbs chance inches away from being back in it. Again, like I said, I feel like anyone who's trying to mock Arsenal for losing that game probably doesn't watch football or didn't watch the game, and is just going off the fact that what the result means in the title race. But the performance itself, I can live with. But yeah, it's obviously bitterly disappointing to be in this situation again. I think that's probably why me and Jonty's headlines today have such a level of similarity.
Yeah, I was before I throw it over to Johnson, I obviously I didn't catch the game live. I watched it back afterwards, and I was looking at some of the commentary and like reaction online as well. And there were pockets of people that were quite, I would say, frustratingly encouraged by the approach and the change of approach, if you could say that, because you definitely were set up differently than you have been in recent times, and probably even for this good chunk of matches in the last few months. So there was like some positive sprouts from that side of things, and also the way you played. Like you said, you had so many chances, man. Even if Havertz takes 1 or 2, probably even 1, like it's a different game, right? Because of when they happened and the game state at the time. So it's not like you weren't creating, which has been some of the complaints. So it's been an interesting game to like look at the discourse, because like you said, there's banter, obviously. I don't think it's really based on this game, because I thought you actually performed decently in this game, but unlucky not to get a draw or get something out of it. But it's probably based on the bigger picture and kind of maybe some of the other games where you've performed not so well. Johns, before I throw it over to Io, because I was obviously going to be the one to chat more about the Ebb stuff and the change in approach. But before he jumps in and says, "I told you so," what's your read on the game, and maybe what Razor said as well?
No, I mean, I agree pretty much with everything that Razor said, really. It's like, it was one of our better performances out of everything we've done this season, right? Again, and I mean that against a good team, right? Like against a challenging team or one of the best teams in the league. I think you look back at our ties against Liverpool, you look back at our ties against Chelsea even, you look back at our ties against Man United, and this was probably one of the better performances that we've put in this season. So obviously that's positive. I think the way that we set up from the start was, like it was said, it's something new, right? And we've seen many different lineups, but I don't think we can necessarily say that we've seen one that looked like this, right? With Eze starting off the left, he actually managed to get most of the players that we want to see into the lineup from the get-go, and it showed in the performance. I think we were having a good time of it. Don't get me wrong; like City are always going to have chances, and even when we've had our good results against City and against other teams, they still have chances, right? But I think we looked good going forward. It looked a lot more fluid, which has obviously been my biggest complaint throughout of all of this, right? Was that our fluidity is never there, right? Like I've said multiple times, that it sometimes feels like our players do not train together in an attacking sense. And so they always missing the timing of each other. Whereas this game, I started to see a lot more positive stuff, particularly started to see the ball moved around a lot quicker, which is another big complaint I think a lot of Arsenal fans have made against our style of football this year, is that it's always an extra touch, it's always a sideways pass, it's always like kind of letting the opposition get back into their position. Whereas I think yesterday we definitely played in a more attacking, but also a faster sense, where we were actually trying to play quite quickly 1-2 touch football, and as a result, City players were getting out of position and we were opening up chances against them. So that was the positive side of things. I think obviously the first goal is both a bit of individual brilliance from them, but also I would say defensively was not great from us, right? I think we had numerous people kind of chasing Cherki to the point where it looked like he was, like a year 11 running around with year 7s, like he was keeping the ball to himself. No one could seemingly get it off of him. Gabriel sticks out a foot. I mean, in another world, in another day, on another time, he probably would have got the ball and managed to dispossess him. But in this case, he wasn't able to. And then it just seems like a really simple finish for Cherki to put in there. And we know that he's both footed. He can literally finish that with either of his feet. And that creates a real serious problem for us. And then arguably our worst chance of the day, I'm not even going to call it a chance, we score, right? You can say it's a Donnarumma clanger, but at the same time, it was indicative of the way that we were playing that game. We were pressing them high, not letting them get out of their own third. And Havertz managed to do that at the exact right time against a goalkeeper who we all know is shaky, with the ball at his feet at best. So it's just weird that that's the way that we get the goal. And then from there, it looks pretty, it looked positive. It looked optimistic from my point of view when we went into halftime 1-1. I was thinking, we make the right changes, we make the right adjustments, and we can actually win this game. And then obviously, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but for the first 20 minutes of that second half, it definitely felt like we went back to a bit of an old style of play where we sat off them again. We weren't pressing high again. We were letting them kind of have and dominate the ball. And particularly if you look at like the possession stats for the first part of that second half, everything shifts and they end up having the ball the most part of the game. We end up kind of sitting back into our rest defense, everyone in the right position. But at 1-1 in that situation, it's going to be a jammy goal or a set piece goal or something like that. That's going to break the game back open again. And I would have preferred us to actually go out and continue in the same fashion that we did in the first half, keep pressing them high, and just hope that we get a chance. And I know, of course, it creates more, open situations at the back for us. And that's one of the things you saw in the first half, right? Is when they break that press, things get like 4-on-4. They get pretty dangerous for us defensively. But with the defenders that we have, I trust them in one-on-one situations. Like Hincapie was all over the place. Like he was managing to clear balls out from the right-hand side, even though he was on the left. And so I would actually prefer to have that kind of gunfight and just see what happened in the end and kind of go out on our shields. But second half, we kind of went back to the old way of playing. And then all it takes is a couple of shirt pulls here and there. And Haaland gets the ball at his feet and puts it away. And then this is another big complaint I have is that when we go back into that shell, it's hard to immediately turn back on to the way that we were playing in the first half, so that when they score that goal, it takes a minute. It takes 5-10 minutes before we actually change back up again and start pressing them high and start trying to go after another goal. And with 20 minutes left or 15 minutes left, you're chasing it. And you saw City, they weren't going for a third goal. They were knocking the ball around, messing with it, going down, time wasting. We weren't pushing them to do anything. So, yeah, I mean, I will agree that I think the changes were a bit weird. I would have preferred that Odegaard dropped into Zubamendi's place and then Zubamendi come off instead of Eze. I can't fault the Madueke sub though. I think Madueke was not having a good game, and I would have maybe hooked him earlier than that even. But it was kind of weird. And then Havertz, the less I say, the better. Like I said in the group chat yesterday, he's the weirdest profile of player I've ever seen in my life. He's a target man. He brings the ball down. He does the link-up play. He does all that stuff. He does all the good defensive actions. But you put the ball in front of him, in front of the goal, and he finds a way to not hit the net. He'll hit a person. He'll hit a post. He'll hit the fucking advertising hoardings, but he won't hit the net. And, I mean, I think you guys are forgetting also that he had a chance where Kusanov, on another day, probably gives a foul away and gets sent off for it. But if Havertz just touches that down, Havertz is a big guy. He's bigger than Kusanov. He can knock him off the ball if he really needs to. But instead, he lets it come across him and gets taken down. And that was another big chance that we didn't even get a shot away from, but that was probably one of the better opportunities. We could have been in like a one-on-one situation with a goalkeeper, and we end up with nothing. The ball goes across and goes out. And yeah, I think the shot where he hits Donnarumma, I think is a good save, but a better finisher puts that away. It's on his left foot as well. He can't say anything. That's on his left side. He needs to put that away.
It's right at him.
And
I'm
then the
harsh on
header.
goalies, but it's right at him.
But also the header.
Finish more than a save.
The header, you've got to at least hit the target. Like, even if he hit the target, he's literally put it in the middle of the goal as well. It's like, come on, man. What are you practicing in training? So, yeah, I mean, on another day, that should have been 3-2 us if we had just put away a couple of those chances. But I'm going to try and be positive. If we can play like that for the next 7 games or 6 games that are left in the season, I'm still confident that we can come out with a lot of points. My problem now is it's no longer in our hands. If City win all their games, as you said, Ant, they have to win by 1 goal margin. You can't win by anything less than a one goal margin. So they are literally, if they win all the rest of their games, they are going to win the league. Right? Unless we can somehow outscore in the rest of our games, right? If we can literally win every game 3-0 from now until the end of the season, fine. But I don't consider that to be in our hands anymore. And that's my worry. I was talking to another fan. He was telling me, they've got to play Bournemouth. I was like, have you seen their record against Bournemouth? They've played 19 times and won 18 games and lost 1. No draws, 18 wins and 1 loss. And then you've got Villa on the last game of the season. The Villa fan's telling me that he hopes they lose. You think that like City are going to slip up from here, bro? They're in their fucking stride.
Yep. Big trouble coming. Big trouble.
Go on, give your read on it then, Io, because obviously for anyone who hasn't been watching the pod before, Io, I'm not going to dig deep into the tapes and the records because we chatted a lot about that on the last pod. I'm not going to be encouraging people to go back, but yeah, you've had your skepticism around Arteta's selection choices, approaches, and games, especially since the turn of a year. What did you make of it? Because I mean, even in the group chat, I think you were quite positive about it. But yeah, definitely the in-game management was slightly strange. And you obviously are a big fan of Eze as well. So yeah, just what's your thoughts on the game as a whole and those 2 bits as well?
There's not even like Eze prop to be had. I think it's like my Eze loved my Eze, like that's what he did. Like, he was our best player, like most creative player for sure. And I think it's just Arteta and in-game management, man. I think that it's been his limitation since he's been at the club, and his refusal to just like Zubimendi, as I said last week as well, like he hasn't been good since the turn of the year. And this game yesterday again was another poor game from him. And it just didn't make any sense how he stayed on the pitch for as long as he did. Like, on top of the fact he didn't offer anything like creativity or like in terms of controlling the game for us in the midfield. But watching him, even Rice as well, like watching them against Rodri and Bernardo Silva, that was just a night and day difference in terms of 2 players controlling midfield compared to what we had. And then, yeah, it was just everything the boys have said. I completely agree with. Like, it's the best we played. Like, I've seen us play since, like, in a long time. To be fair, like the pressing was really good, the intensity was really good. So all of that was like positive, but I just don't understand how he takes off Eze. And I just like as Razor said, like even if it's fitness, it's like, what are you resting him for? Like, just let the man play the game. Like he was the only one that was offering anything creativity. And we just had nothing after that. Once he came off, he kind of I think it kind of looked like he just accepted 1-1. And it was just like, if we take a 1-1, we're happy with it. And I just didn't understand that tactical change or that tactical tweak from him. And then, yeah, Havertz, as John said, just because again, it's the same thing as in the final. He had that chance against Trafford. Like at the moments in the games where he just needs to score and hit that target and actually score. And like the game can change, that momentum can swing. The ball lands at his feet and he just there's just no conviction. Like in the final, we had that chance and he's in the box. Trafford saves it. Yesterday, same thing. Like people are saying, I've seen people trying to blame Odegaard for the pass, and I'm like, yeah, the pass is amazing, but it's on your left foot, mate. It's like you got to put that. You got to put that in there. Yeah, exactly. So I've seen people like saying Odegaard, and I'm just like, I'm not a big Odegaard fan. I didn't think he was amazing yesterday, but I think he still did a very good job. And the pass was perfectly fine, and Havertz just has to finish that. And so the struggle, and then the fact he brings on, obviously Gyökeres isn't the saviour, but why would you bring him on the 85th minute when you were chasing the goal? Like, from the 70th minute, should have brought Gyökeres on, at least showed some intent to try look like we were trying to win the game. And he just waited and waited and waited. And then, he brings him on, and Gyökeres obviously comes on, he came on for 15 minutes and didn't touch the ball, which is crazy. That's just a crazy stat in the first place. I don't know how that's even possible, but that says a lot. And then, Havertz, big misses, the big chances missed. Madueke, but that is £52 million down the drain. Like, there's just no justifying what that guy does on the right wing. There was a moment he has a chance to play the ball into Odegaard, where we win the ball back on the counter. It's like just a quick pass in. Odegaard makes a great run. Madueke instead passes it out to the right. And I'm just like, why do you not like put your head up? He's like, when he dribbles with his head down. I don't know why he didn't bring on Dalman in the game. It's just so many decisions. I'm just like, I don't know why he just refused to just put that, just say nothing. Like, we've got nothing to lose anymore. Like, I don't know why he just has to play with such like a seatbelt on. And like the first half was great, and I felt really confident. And I was like, okay, maybe it's a different game. We were pressing more. We weren't getting boxed in like we happened in the Carabao Cup final. But I think just our limitations again. And obviously, I don't know how confident I am for the rest. Like, I didn't think we haven't played well, as I said, since January. I think we've just been kind of skating through, and performances are going to drop down. And that was maybe it could be a turning point, but I think City, as you said, like they're form, they've hit stride. I think Pep in this moment as well, like he smelt blood and knows, and the team are literally just acting out everything he needs.
He's enjoying it.
He's loving it, man.
Like, he loves this. He loves this game.
But then also seeing the fact,
he looks like our arse is about to fall out, and he's in his element.
We've got no composure, and then when you see freaking Bernardo Silva outrunning Kai Havertz, like in the 80th minute for a ball where Kai Havertz Bernardo Silva has no right to win that ball, and then I see Bernardo Silva come out the draw and he wins it. Then he comes out for a draw with Gyökeres in the box and wins the header. It just showed a desire, and it showed what happens when you have actually quality players and like people that actually maybe know how to win, because it just showed, as I said, the level was like Rice. I think Rice put energy in, but in terms of controlling that game for us, him and Zubi are just we just have a midfield really for me. And I wish Odegaard.
That was one thing I was going to ask you though. That's the only thing I will say I disagree with you on. Right, like I actually thought for the first, until they scored, Rice was the best midfielder on the pitch, like in terms of central midfielder. He was better than, from what I could see, he was doing a much better job of dominating, particularly on the defensive end, than Rodri. And one of the things I was going to say, I agree with you though. I don't think he is a dictator though. Like that's what I'm looking for from Zubimendi, and Zubimendi wasn't doing that, right? At the same time, I don't think Rodri actually had a great game either. I think Bernardo really was the one that dominated. But the thing I was going to say about this was, my biggest argument now is no more shit players. I don't want to buy any more shit players, any more squad players. Only ballers, certified ballers. Because if you look at our team today, who is essentially the best player in it? I'm going to argue it's Rice, right? Maybe you could argue Eze, you could argue other players from the pitch yesterday. But Rice is our most dependable, and he usually shows up in these big games, and he costs 100 million. I don't want to see shit players being bought anymore. No more squad players, no more shit rotation players. If we're going to spend money, I need to see ballers come to the team. So I was going to say, if I see Anthony Gordon come to this team in the summer, I'm not watching football next year. Julian Alvarez, I'll take that. Yeah. Kvaratskhelia, I'll take that. Brady Barcola, I'll take that. But if I see fucking Anthony Gordon or any other squad type players come into my team for 70 million or whatever else, I'm done, because that was the biggest difference between us and them yesterday, is individual quality again. When we had the big chances, we flopped them. When they had the big chances, they put them away. Whether it was Cherki or Haaland or Bernardo Silva, whatever. As soon as they got the ball at their feet, individual brilliance was on show, whereas we were still fumbling and shinning things and fucking smashing them into the goalkeeper and this, that, and the other. Whereas Eze has that individual brilliance, and he was the best player. He was arguably our best attacker on the pitch, right?
It's begun. It's begun. I disagree with you. We were all getting along so well. We were all getting along.
Of course, you
so
disagree because you have the agenda of saying that our transfer window was really good. I
No,
don't.
no. Listen. Don't lose your wig. Yeah, listen. Yeah. Our transfer window, I gave it a grade at the time. The grades are in the video, whatever. Yeah. Any level of satisfaction that I could have gotten from being like nonny this, nonny that has completely it's gone. Yeah. Fuck being right. Yeah. This is what we have to deal with now. I just feel like a greater factor than I agree in terms of star quality. And like we've been saying this, we talked about this in various ways. We've talked about like who's the best player in each position, you know, throughout the league, and like what like level you need of star power in order to be able to like win a title and bring things home, game changers. Ultimately, I think there's no point in us having X amount of players or Y amount of players having the biggest squad in the league or whatever, because we just haven't rotated them enough. So we've got two things, which is that we've got a group of players that are first team quality, and on their day at the start of the season was some of the best players in their position across the league that are now knackered and look scary to behold. And then we've got players who were just under first team quality, but now are so, I don't want to say off the pace, because I'm sure they're like training and doing stuff, but like we're ending up with makeshift combinations in games that haven't played together and look like they haven't played together very much. And I think it's been quite often a lot of the time this season, like the frustration that fans have had where we're looking at like Saka and Gyökeres not being able to link up, or look at like Timber and Saka start to get a bit of a connection going, and then one of the two gets injured. Odegaard comes back into the squad, and midfield is flowing a bit more, but then he goes out of the squad and it doesn't look as good. Havertz comes in and he can help Gyökeres a bit when they play together, but then, and it's all of these things that just we haven't, like by this point in the season, we should have figured out what A, B, and C combination in every kind of game plan and game state is, and we seem to still not really know that. It seems to be like a bit pastor at a wall.
I think that's mad though. Look at how are we in April, and that is like, it's crazy that.
Well, I think it gets back to Razor's point though, is that he hasn't rotated in a structured way enough that like a second team gets used to playing together. But I guess my point is like we started that game, and I'd argue the two worst players on the pitch for the first half, even though we were good in the first half, were the two new players that we bought in the summer. And yes, Madueke's supposed to be a backup, so I'm not expecting the world from him, don't get me wrong. But Zubimendi, maybe he'll take another year to bed in. So I'm not fully like over him or whatever else. I think he'll get better. But my bigger point is just like in that attacking third, especially in these big games, and especially we're gonna realize this in the Champions League too, yeah? When we're coming up against Bayern in their pomp or PSG in their pomp or whatever else, we're going to realize really quickly the difference in our quality versus theirs. Even if we have our full strength 11, we're still going to have Martinelli on the left-hand side. We're still going to have Zubimendi in arguably some of his worst form. I know he's tired, don't get me wrong, right? But this is my point, is that like in those one-on-one shootout games, which is what this was. I know that it's a league game and everything, and we could have done more before it to put ourselves in a better position so that we don't have to rely on the fixture and so on and the result of it. But when you get into these one-on-one shootout games, it does really make a difference if you have that quality. And if you look at them, Cherki and Haaland were their best players. And you could even say to a certain extent, O'Reilly played really well for them too, and he's continuing a really good vein of form. But you just look at how comfortable they are on the ball. That's actually probably the biggest thing I'm getting at here, actually, is just we're really good off the ball. And I know that's the big thing that people like both mock us for, but also a lot of them like proper tacticos respect us for, is that we're really good off the ball. But it's just on the ball, the level of comfortability is low, man. Even if you look at Havertz, he should be better on the ball than Haaland from a defensive or from a dribbling point of view and so on. He doesn't look like he is.
Can I pose a question then for you lot? Yeah, because I think it will tie in with this, but there is a risk it's going to cause absolute mayhem. But I think it's worth asking. All right. So I saw this phrased on another piece of content that I watched, and I thought it was a really good question. I wanted to get you lot's answer on it. Basically, two scenarios. You either get a raft of more attacking signings, because we're mostly talking about the attack that's still not working, right? Maybe you can include the midfield a little bit, but let's say primarily attack. You get 3 or 4 more signings. You spend another 200 million with the context of you seeing Arteta's recent signings in the last couple of seasons in that attacking third of the pitch, or you get a new manager, no new signings, but you get someone to come in and just with a fresh approach and maybe play a different style of football. Do you think that that's even a possible choice, or do you think it's just a no-brainer? Go with the first option. You still need more players. You still need, to give the manager more time, or do you think that that's actually something that could be suggested, Razor? Do you think it's possible that you could, or we can go to you. Actually, I think you haven't chimed in for a little minute. Like, would you consider the second option, or are you still thinking that option A is the best route to success?
I think we all know the answer. I don't like the fact your option B has no signings attached to it, but option B for me.
Manager counts as a new signing, though.
Yeah, exactly. It can't be new manager and new signings, because then I guess everyone will go for that. But I mean,
I hear it. I think, as I said, I think the Arteta project has run its course, sadly. Obviously, I don't think our attacking players are great. I'm not naive. I don't think we've got good attacking players. But do I think they could be doing more if we had a manager that wasn't as pragmatic and as systematic as Arteta? For 100%. And I feel like, because people always say a couple of years ago, I think it was 22-23, when we had really free-flowing football, Martinelli, Saka, they all looked like they were going to be bursting. Martinelli looked like he was going to be next world class. So obviously, I think the talent's still there. And I think it comes to a point where we just can't keep blaming the signings or the players. If every attacker is struggling under this system, eventually it has to be this. Eventually, we have to start looking more at the system. And so, obviously, I'm not sure. For me, I think after this year, he's had 7 years. 7 years at the club now? I think if it's not now, and I think we could justify, I think before, for me, I always said, I think if we win the trophies, then I can live with the shit football. I can live with us not looking exciting. But if we don't get the trophies, then we're just suffering for nothing, really. So, for me, I'd say option B, because I don't even think if you give Arteta great attacking players, he'll know what to do with them, realistically. And that's so we could sign. It's not even like me being harsh. We could sign freaking Kvaratskhelia from PSG. I genuinely think he comes to the team, and what he does at PSG, he will not be able to replicate at Arsenal, because he just won't be allowed to do that. And that's how I see it, because I think when it comes to those type of players or those Mavericks, I just don't think this is the system where you're allowed to thrive in. And that's just my honest opinion when it comes to it. So for me, I'm saying option B. We cut ties with him after this year, and we try something. We try something different, because I'm out this year. It's tough to watch in the league, and we're still top of the table, which is a crazy thing to say. It's just mad. But that's for me. Right. That's for me.
I guess your answer was probably a tap in. So let's see what these men are going to say. Razor, would you even consider option B? Because I know you've been more supportive of Arteta and the way things have been going in the last couple of years. What's your kind of initial feelings to that question?
I think as far as my support of Arteta goes, it's always been within context. It's always been within the context of where the club was and where the club is. And I think I've always sort of said, if we reach a point where progression stops being the case, that's when my support of him will probably be more questionable. I do think for a long time, several seasons, and I'm not sure, we had the debates during the transfer window discussions about how much of the transfer policy and the signings that are made are down to the head coach or the manager or the director of football and the club and the owner and this, that, and the third, not just for Arsenal, but for, every club. But ultimately, has the quality in terms of attacking signings been there? Do you know what I mean? Like we've signed number, we've signed depth, we've got a lot of good squad players that would be second or third string players at a team like City, essentially. Do I feel like we have gone into I guess the best way to put it is if you look further back in our like teams, like sort of positionally, you get like our goalkeeper. I think a lot of teams would want our goalkeeper and would want to buy our goalkeeper. If you look at our defenders, I think we've probably got one of the most desirable like sort of defenses in like European football. In midfield, despite Zubimendi being absolutely fucking rat-arsed and knackered and developing a worse and worse bozo gene by the week, it seems, a certain someone who couldn't make pod at a godly hour, like his team chased him around like I'm not even going to finish that metaphor, but that simile. But do you know what I mean? Like he was courted by some of the biggest clubs in European football, and he chose to come to Arsenal. Declan Rice, £100 million. We always sing we'd pay it twice. So it's like when you get to the front, like sort of area of the pitch, who ticks that box? Saka, cool, but he was tail end. Like we didn't sign him, we didn't buy him. Don't really feel like we made him in that sense. Like he's obviously developed into the player that he is in the current context of the squad, but he broke into the squad because we needed him. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like we were like, oh, you know, someone like Max Dowman, for example, now, is kind of obviously being propelled beyond, and Saka had a little bit of that. He was definitely somebody who was seen as like very, very good, but like we needed him. It wasn't like a welcome to the squad and you're so good, you're going to get some valuable experience right now. It's like, oh shit, we need to pin all of our hope on this teenager. Do you know what I mean? So I do think I could stomach seeing another season. Yeah, but we have that signing can't be like, it can't be someone that us three are arguing about like their validity and whether they make sense, and
it must be
Can I
undeniable.
Can I interject though? But when you say he didn't like these players, he did choose like Havertz, and he did.
I never said that he didn't choose them. I
know, but you said that like the policy, whether
I
said policy, like you don't know whether.
I said we could discuss whether he chose them or didn't choose them, and how much power head coaches have in modern football over signings, this, that, and the third. Do I personally think there's an ecosystem or a world in which Arteta is just blindly being whatever level of control he says he has? Do I think he has 0% control? No, I don't think that. Do I think he has 100% control? Probably not most of the time, if we're being wrong. So anywhere you want to slap the spectrum in between that, I'm fine with that. Whether he co-signed them or whether he like knows them and went round to dinner and hired a pickpocket to rob their grand, I don't care. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I need to see names that I'm convinced that the needle moves. Do you know what I mean? Like we haven't signed the player like that in that front third of the pitch since, well, we had the guys were having a discussion about this in the pub yesterday while we were watching the game. Who was our last? Correct. That's probably the last time that we had a player in those areas of the pitch that was a certified bad boy, not just at Arsenal, but in terms of when he came, that was what he came for, and he was known for that, innit? So I could watch another year of the project with that. I think it would be my final year. And I think...
What about Gyökeres? Sorry to interrupt as well, bro. But you say that about Aubameyang, I do agree. But there was a similar optimism that Gyökeres would be something similar. Would you not agree? I know it hasn't turned out that way, but I think there was similar. He scored 100 goals. I
don't think he was rated. Like he had the numbers off that season in Portugal, and those seasons. Sorry, Victor. In Portugal, but like it wasn't like Aubameyang was looked at like, oh yeah, he is a marksman.
Yeah, he was a good choice, not a great choice, right? Like if for example, if you'd have given us Osherman, come on, like not maybe someone will say something about his character or whatever, which I think is BS anyway. But that's an undeniable striker. You get him in, and there's no one that's saying, oh, he's not good enough, right? With Gyökeres, I think there was still that over like the idea that it's just Portugal and he played in for Coventry or whatever before and he looked dodgy, this, that, and the other. So there was still like arguments to be made that maybe he wasn't going to be the best of the best. Also, you don't get the best of the best for 50, 60 million, right? For other teams to allow you to do that, it's not commonplace, right? So even that kind of puts that into question as well. But I agree with Razor completely, right? Which is, number one, yes, Arteta may have chosen Havertz. That he can take some blame for that. At the same time, the club takes blame for that too. Why are you letting a manager, that's not his role, that's not his expertise, decide which players to buy? And I do think that is the best change that we've made this year, actually. Funnily enough, the best signing we made this year, outside of Eze, is arguably Berta. Right? Because he's telling my man, shut the hell up. We're buying whoever I want to buy. You can have an input, but it's my decision in the end.
But
and that's the only thing that gives me...
But Berta's overseeing Madueke, Gyökeres, Zubimendi, and some of these signings too, right?
And that's the thing. That's the area where I think that Berta will learn, though, right? Berta will learn. He'll see these players. He won't be so, what's the word for it, personally invested in each of them because he's not speaking to them on a daily basis. And this is the same thing you saw with Klopp, right? If it were up to Klopp, they would have got fucking Draxler and not Salah. If it were up to Klopp, they would have kept Henderson until 35, right? They would have kept all of these dons until they were 35. Who was it? It was who was it? Brandt.
It was Julian Brandt.
The same player, man. They're basically the same no-name.
That's very harsh. That's very harsh on Brandt. He's better than Draxler, bro. Like,
this is not more Noni Madueke prop here, but Noni Madueke as a backup to Saka. No, just
don't do it. Don't do
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm actually continuing my fucking point from where I left off. The point that I'm making, is Noni. The point that I was fucking making during the transfer window, was Noni Madueke. I can turn a blind eye to, or I can give like an opportunity, a chance to, when he's playing back up to a player of Saka's level. Like I was saying, in terms of our front 4 or 5 positions, aside from Saka, who and Saka's form has been what Saka's form has been, aside from Saka, who is at that level? Like, it's not like we're starting off with up here and then we're bringing on somebody whose level is a drop off, isn't it? Like, we don't have.
I see your point. I see your point on Madueke, which is
my point is Madueke is not great. I was willing to give him a chance. I will hold my hands up and say I told everyone to give him a chance. We gave him a chance. I do actually. I think across the season, Madueke as a backup is exactly what everyone thought he would be. He's exactly what you lot knew him to be when he came. It's why you guys were disappointed. I said he might do some stuff. I was wrong. Okay.
No, but I actually think you in another word you could have been right. Let me give you an analogy. Yeah. If Tijani Reinders had come into that Man City team when Rodri was still knocking about, when Bernardo Silva was still there, and he had time to bed in with world-class players around him, you would have seen him become much better, right? And I'm going to use Gundogan. A lot of other examples exist where you buy a player that you're not expecting to be amazing, right? Like a Kovacic from Chelsea even. You put them around good players and you see what they can do. And they rub off on them and they become a lot better. If you had Madueke, right, surrounded by like fucking Osherman or somebody up front that was really good, and then a bunch of midfielders that were also really good and able to kind of lift him up, I do think he would perform better than he is currently performing for us. But you've got to realise, it's Madueke feeding the ball to fucking Havertz or Madueke feeding the ball to Gyökeres. What the fuck are we expecting him to do? He's not a miracle worker.
The main problem here is that Saka is not feeding the ball to anyone, and that
as well,
Noni hasn't really had an opportunity to like not study Saka's game, because obviously like Saka, he's very visible. But like he hasn't had time to like be comfortable in the role. I don't think any of our front forward players look comfortable in the role. I think like our defenders have gone like this in terms of comfort along the season, but I think our front 5 kind of started off like this and they've gone like this, and it's been really like.
I think you're right about. I think you're right about Madueke, though, bro. If I'm honest, maybe you're a bit more. You put it on like as a positive, in a positive lens, because it was obviously really super negative when you signed him. But he's been decent in the games that he's been called on, but he's not gonna be decisive in the crunch moments, or like when things are really, really, you need someone to step up. And that's not what you should expect of like a backup right winger. Yeah, the big issue points to what you guys have all mentioned before. Like Saka's obviously been injured, so he can't contribute in the crunch. You prefer him to be doing it rather than Madueke. And Gyökeres has turned out to be, even though he's got some numbers, not that player necessarily, or you haven't been able to find a way to get the best out of him. And Trossard started really good, but kind of tailed off, and he's kind of looked at as a bit of a squad player as well. Martinelli's had his moments. So it's just like, in your attack, you don't have, which you guys have mentioned, you don't have anyone close to the Haaland or Cherki type of that bit of gold dust when you really need it. You've got players that will turn up in the other parts of the season pretty consistently, but when it comes to the crunch, the player closest to be able to do that is Saka, and he's injured, and his form hasn't been good when he has been playing, right? So
Eze like he could be that guy.
Eze could be that, yeah.
Yeah, I think next season we're going to see more of Eze being comfortable and being that guy. But like going back to the question you asked, Ant, that's why I think this is probably the first time that I felt like deeply in my soul, like option B doesn't sound awful to me. The thing that I would say on that is that like we've seen what happens when not like necessarily, I'm not saying that he's like a great manager, but when a settled manager, I think it's more about being settled. And I think the more settled the manager is, the bigger risk you're taking in terms of switching everything. And me personally, yeah, cool. People can make jokes about like, what year of the project is it now? Like, cool. I would like to see the project with a killer. I would like a killer. I want somebody that makes centre back shook. Saka's the only guy, and that makes it. You
trust him to get it though. Do you trust this manager and this director of football to get that killer though?
No, I don't. Forget about the manager and the director of football. I do not trust the club to get a killer. In my time being an Arsenal fan, from then until now, how many killers have we actually seen, right? I think Razor was on a good point when he said, when was the last time we actually bought a killer? Aubameyang. Before that, Ozil. Before that, who?
Not a killer, man.
Sanchez,
when I say killer, I mean like world-class talent that can pull the level of the entire club up. Right?
I thought you were talking about like a gunman to pull out goals in the key.
Oh no, even then, like Henry was not when we bought him. We didn't think he was going to be a killer, right? Van Persie, when we bought him, we didn't think he was going to be a killer, and that's fine. But I don't have fucking 5 years longer to wait, and Gyökeres doesn't have 5 years longer either because he's already like 27, right? So he's not going to turn into a killer when he's fucking 33. I'm not trying to see a Welbeck arc on my man, right? As much as I'd take it Welbeck right now, just to be clear. But as much as that is, we need a certified killer. And Arsenal Football Club, we don't buy certified killers like this. And this is another thing I'll just say is, right, it's really become clear to me, this was never going to be a dynasty. I was hoping, that Man City would fall off. They'd somehow get the 115, which we still haven't seen a result of. That would put them down to League Two. Pep would leave them, and then they'd be back in the mud again. And we know that Liverpool are not a dynasty club anymore in terms of just, prolonged battering of a whole league, right? Look at them, worst champions ever, right? Now I'm getting to the point where I realize Man City are in this for life. Whether they've got Pep Guardiola or not, they go out and buy the best two English players, the best two players in the Premier League in January. And we're sat here fucking twiddling our thumbs. So my only problem with Arteta now is, if that's the case, if I'm just going to have to wait for him and just be second, and then eventually get a couple of trophies here and there, am I just waiting for us to be another Liverpool? I'm not sure I want to be that.
But I don't even think we're getting the trophies. That's the sad part. Like, you're so correct, but I'm just like, I wouldn't mind if we won a trophy. Like, it's because we're 7 years.
Yeah, we're not going to be the 1980s Liverpool. We're going to be like the 2010 Liverpool. We're going to get a goal, a trophy here and there, and oh, nice, yes, we pushed the champion so hard, so many years. I don't want to do that.
But that's exactly what is happening, and that's what's, because as much as we can like clown Antony United, they won't be in peril for that. They won't. No, I'm saying. No, but I'm saying, yeah, you guys won't be in peril for that long. Exactly. Like you guys can. This is exactly the difference in club. That's exactly like as bad as we can clown you guys, you will be back sooner or later because your club goes out and you might not buy everyone. You might not be excited in the moment, but you have players that are, as you said, are killers. And so for like this was our time. This window was our perfect window for us to go out and actually establish ourselves and win something. And the fact that it hasn't come in these last 4 years, like we kept saying that's going to be the next year, or maybe like, oh, like it's going to like now, like he's got the defense, he's got the attack now. Because that's when the other time we played that really free-flowing attacking football, it looked amazing. And then we were like, oh, but our defense was leaky. Then we made our defense solid, and he was like, okay. And like every year has changed something, but every year we just seem to not be getting like now this like the closer we've been to the league, and yet I still feel. Like even with like, people saying like
we need it to be a step change, right? Like we've been making incremental, and that's where I'm with Razor on his point about progress, right? Coming from where we came from, I just wanted to see progress. What I wanted to see was like the opposite of what happens to Tottenham now, what was happening to Man United a few years ago, right? Where they seem to be making backward progress. We made that progress, right? And I'm starting to like Razor, I'm actually starting to see the allure of the option B. Purely for the fact that I actually see around us, right? If you give me that choice and everybody else in the league stays static, I'll take the first choice. I'll take option A because I think that if everyone stays static, Arteta will make an incremental change and we will finally be good enough to win this league, yeah? But they're not making incremental changes around us, bro. Oh, sorry, they're not staying static around us. Man City are making big moves now to come back and be just like they were 5 years ago. Liverpool are going to do it. They're apparently going to go out again and spend another 500 million on the ball. So what are we going to do? So that's where I really am starting to see the allure of option B because it's like maybe option B will also incentivize us to make real step changes in other areas too. The only part that worries me is the part where you said no signings because I am of that camp. I'm of the camp that even you give these players to Luis Enrique, sure, we could go and win the league, right? Slot can get lucky every now and then and pick the same team and win it. But bear in mind that he had everyone else being shit around him. Do I think that Liverpool next year, when Isak's back fit, when Ekitike's back, when all them man are fit, plus all those new signings, and then Man City do the same thing and still somehow skate away without any punishment on the 115, do I think that they're, going to just wait around for us with this set of players? I'm sorry, I don't think they are.
I obviously like the way in which the question was set up was designed to like sort of elicit like a polarized response, but I think regardless of whether we have a new manager or not, like we need a Lengman to take advantage of the really best in class like sort of base that we have at the club. We need somebody up front that is going to create fear. And I'm not saying this is a criticism of Gyökeres, and it like in fact, this has been my defense of Gyökeres the entire season. The fact that he is what he was. He looks like the same striker. He's just having to do it in England now. And it's fucking harder. And it looks like that. Do you know what I mean? Like he's performing at around the same level. If you like sort of compare the difference in challenge, he's scoring roughly the same kind of goals against roughly the same kind of opposition. He is exactly what we thought he was. But my thing is that we were never gonna go. And I think I said this during the transfer thing. You lot were all too busy like making notes on my opinion on Noni Madueke. But like I said this about Gyökeres as well. Like I said, like
and Kepa.
You didn't. Oh, fuck me.
You associated your name with two stinkers.
You stumped him there. You stumped. Oh,
I'm gonna say things that are gonna get us in trouble. The point that I was making was, we weren't in for Isaac. Like once the price got to a certain point, I was like, no. Osimhen, I don't think there were any concrete rumors. Do you know what I mean? Now, anybody who could be arguably described as best in class in their position, even like, we were looking at a player from Real Madrid potentially. Who is it? Is it Vinny? Is it Jude? It's not. It's never the guy. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know right now, innit? And I don't know, like, you know, you could say like getting a new coach in. You might get a new coach in, and we might win something with that new coach, and that would be nice. But I agree with Jonts about like the whole like dynasty thing. I think United will be back next season, realistically, depending on who they hire in the summer. Liverpool can't continue being this disappointing. I would love it, but they can't. Chelsea, yeah, maybe Chelsea. Yeah, Chelsea will still be doing what they were doing next season. But yeah, like, other than that, I think we're just generally in a position where like this can't be the pinnacle. This can't be the peak of the mountain, because we haven't, like, we've got like a generational defense, midfield, goalkeeper. We've got squad depth. Like, we need to make it happen, and I think something drastic needs to happen. So if I'm an owner, I'm looking at that and going like, right, I don't fucking spend all this dosh to become a laughing stock and finish in the same position. Do you know what I mean? Like, this isn't the NBA. We don't get any kind of rewards for not winning, even like down to like lottery picks or like positioning with this or like scheduling. There's nothing. We just get banter. So
I'm tired, bro.
Like,
I'm tired,
it's one of them things where like we have to do something. Someone has to stand up and be like, right, I'm going to do something to move the needle. And I think it's either going to be one thing. We've talked about signings coming in, but I think there needs to be like a wave of signings, like people leaving as well. Like, one thing we've done really badly throughout the modern era of Arsenal is sell and like get rid of players. A, at a time that we need to get rid of them for making profit, but B, getting rid of them at a time when they're no longer just filling up squad roles. And I think, you know, Gabriel Jesus, big fan of him at a distance. Like, far away from me, and Arsenal Football Club ideally would be the distance. I've seen enough in terms of that. And I think there's 3 or 4 other players that could also go in similar fashion. And
sadly, our Halen boys are going to be the 2 most likely going to get shipped out because of...
You knew that this was coming at some point. Fuck me.
I will throw tomatoes at the Emirates. I will throw tomatoes at the Emirates. No. There's no argument.
He will sell Ethan, bro. Watch. I'm telling you, bro.
I cannot sell. They better not sell.
He's gonna sell Ethan. I'm telling you, bro.
Guys, you realize the contrast of what you're saying, right? Is like, we're happy that we buy these squad players, but the squad players are the exact reason why people like Ethan and Miles get shifted out. Right? It's not because of the best players that we buy. If we went and bought Rodrigo, you think Ethan's going to be crying on the bench thinking, oh, why can't I get in the team when Rodrigo's there? Like, no. If we buy Kvaratskhelia or whoever, they're not going to be doing this, bro. And that's why I'm just saying, like, from my perspective, I don't even think that we necessarily have to shift out Gyökeres, right? I'm just saying you can't afford to have 2 decent or good players in your front 3. You need to have at least 2 bad boys, right? And from my point of view, you look at Liverpool last year. I know that people probably at the time didn't realize it, but Luis Diaz was a bad boy, right? And Salah obviously is. And maybe Núñez stinks a bit. Yeah, fine with that, right? But they at least had 2 out of 3 that are good. They're really, really good. And you might say like, on Luis Diaz, but look at him now. And don't act like he wasn't doing similar things last year. He was doing similar things, maybe not at the same goal scoring rate, but you had Salah in the team, and Salah was hogging all the goals like he usually does, right? That's how he gets all these records that they want to bring up every game. Oh, he scored the most goals in a 2.5 game span. Who gives a fuck? But my point is, it either has to be a replacement for Martinelli or a replacement for Gyökeres, and they have to be true bad boys. Like, I need to see Kvaratskhelia on the left-hand side, or I need to see Osherman or someone like that up front. But I can't see Martinelli, Gyökeres, and then Saka. Especially, I think a conversation needs to be had. Do we think Saka's ever going to come back and be the same as he was before? I know he's young, but bro, I'm starting to get real worried about him.
I think he needs rest. I agree with you.
That's
But on the Saka thing, I think he needs rest, and I think he needs what the Americans call load management. I think we need to be in a position where, to be honest, it's peak now because we've run our bad boy winger into the ground to the point where I think we actually now potentially may need 2 more bad boy wingers. So one to play on the left, and then what would be ideal is like a young guy. Like not Esteval in the sense, but like someone of that ilk in terms of being young, obviously
Maybe
very
Ryan
talented.
from Bournemouth.
Someone like that. Like we need somebody who again is not going to feel disrespected playing understudy to Saka, but then the drop off isn't going to feel like we just nosedived off one of the 7 sisters if he has to step in and be the deputy for 3 or 4.
Couldn't Wanyeri be that? Couldn't Wanyeri just do that? The players that you mentioned, look, I hear it.
Brother, do not this. That's literally what Ethan. Like, obviously, I think people said Ethan's like wants to be number 10, but last year he was literally deputy to Saka, and he came in and did the job. So I think if he comes back in the summer, and maybe he's obviously like he should be happy to play anyway. Like, but if he's more willing to, I don't know if that was nonsense or just agent talk saying he wants to play in the 10, he wants to play. That's where his future's meant to be. But he came in and played right wing last year and was actually he's one of our best players. Like, so he's a better player than Madueke. Like, there's no reason for Ethan Nwaneri to be on the bench while Madueke gets minutes. It just doesn't make any logical sense. And if that persists, that's what I mean. If that persists, this is why you got to judge the manager. Because I think this says that this just tells you that the manager I don't know what's wrong with him. But if you're looking at these 2 players play football and you're picking Madueke over Ethan, that I have to look at you in a certain type of way. And so that's why option B was my option, because I'm just like, I think
it could be financial. It could be financial, the reason why they're doing this, though, because a lot of people, the stuff that I read was talking about like them having to sell some of the academy players to
to make money,
the books. So it might not be the manager saying, I want Madueke. It might just be the fact that the finance dons in a club is saying, look, we need to do something here. Like, the academy players are going to book us more profit to help us balance the books. Would be signing Madueke be that much more of a downgrade than keeping Wanyeri? You don't know what the conversations are, right? Back to Razor's point, you don't know how much is in his hands. He might rate Wanyeri, but he might think that that's something that he can do, and it's negligible. That bringing Madueke in is not going to impact that much. Who knows, right? That's the only point I wanted to add.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. Like, in the sense that, like, I think it's both. I think, like I said, I don't think all of this is in his hands. I do think that what Lana said is, like, I haven't seen Miles play in the 6. All of this talk about Ethan playing on the right wing is air, because this year we've had a crisis in the 10. So play him in the 10. Play him in the 10. Play him in the 10. Like, I get that we don't get everything, but at its core, football is a very simple game. And I think, like, you send your, like, you know, I said the same thing after the Carabao Cup final. You send your 11 best players out. You try and get them to do stuff. You analyze what's not working. You look at your bench. Okay, we need to do more running. Running type player. Like, does someone need to strip back the game so it's like Pokemon for him? Like, you press A, you press B. Like, it really shouldn't be it shouldn't be this difficult, man. And I'm really confused. I don't understand. Like,
my big thing is that we're still talking about.
We've got a 6, but our 6s are tired because they've played every game.
Exactly.
I still think we're talking about a separate problem, though. We're talking about separate problems, right? Because again, I agree with you, right? From a fan perspective, I want to see our young players come through and become star boys like Saka and so on. Right? But my bigger problem is, even then, you can put these star boys around, but Saka can't influence everyone. We need more in our first team 11, right? Because when we're talking about Nwaneri and Miles Lewis-Skelly, I hope everyone in here recognizes at their current age, they should not be first team players for us, right? They should be squad rotation players that get in potentially as a second choice, right? If they're good enough, but they should not be our starting players, right? This ain't fucking League One we're not going to win titles with 16 and 17-year-olds playing in our first 11. But my bigger point is, why are we not surrounding them with absolute bad boys? Just like I said before, Saka can teach Nwaneri, great. Who's going to teach our 10? Because it ain't going to be Odegaard. Those are not things you want to learn, right? Who's going to teach our new up-and-coming left winger? It ain't going to be Martinelli. You don't want to, what he's going to teach them how to shin it out for a goal kick every 5 seconds, right? What's the point of that? We need players to learn from, certified bad boys in our left wing position, our striker position, our right wing position, our 10 position. These are the places where, not to quote Michael Owen too frequently because he's usually full of shit, but one of the best things I've ever heard him say was, right, strikers versus defenders, which one is more difficult? Or attackers versus defenders? Attackers more difficult because it's more difficult to build a house than it is as a defender to knock it down. And this is my big point here, right, is we can always set up with a really good defense all day long, but we're not going to go out and win Champions Leagues. We're not, unfortunately, going to have dominant dynasties in the Premier League without a world-class 11. You look at Man City, who do they have? Kevin De Bruyne. Who do they have? Aguero. Who do they have? Silva. You look at Man United's team from before. Who did they have? Cristiano Ronaldo. Who did they have? Tevez, Rooney, whoever. You can look at any team that's had a dynasty in the Premier League, and you've got players in that first 11 in the attack that are going to arguably go down as the best players in their position of all time. There's no one, apart from potentially Saka at the end of his career, in our front three that is going down, or front four, that is going down as the best in their position of all time. All right?
If it continues like this, Saka's gonna get booted.
Saka's not going to make it in there either, right?
So I've got so much love for Bukayo, but that's the real. It's getting hard to put him in debates now. Time and you
forget about all time.
At right wing.
But look, we're going to close up the Arsenal segment on this. The only thing I will say to you, man, though, is I don't know if you lot have. I'm sure you have when you lot were looking at signing Berta as the director of football. The one bit of hope for those of you that don't like some of the signings you got last summer and recent signings is, my man, there's a high turnover of players when he's a director of football. If you looked at what he was doing at Atletico Madrid, you'd buy a player for a lot of money. You would not be shy to flog him the next summer or the next transfer window or a year later. So it's totally possible that the players that you lot are not rating, like Noni, etc., and these lot that you just bought that you thought you might not flog because you've just had them, he could get rid of them. So that, and to that point and what you guys have said, you've got to create space in your squad for these bad boys and these gunmen that you want in the attack. And it would be madness if they sold the youngsters to do that. So there is hope that they sell the rotational players that you lot don't really rate, because that is what Berta has done before. He's not shy. You might not make loads of money back on them, but he'll flog them and he'll find a way for you to refresh the squad. So
we need to do it while everyone's in their prime. That's only the last thing I'll say, right? Is Raya, Gabriel, they're not getting any younger, right? Saliba, I know we just signed a new contract of his and this, that, and the other, but he's not going to stay around if we keep coming second every year and winning nothing for fucking 7 years in a row, right?
He's getting Madrid, bro.
Do something while these dons are in their prime or close to it, or while we can still keep them while they're in their prime. We can't keep fucking about. So I hope that comes true, and I hope he says, Madueke, doors over there, Gyökeres, get the hell out of here. Whoever else, get out of it. I don't mind if he does that. That will potentially be the thing that Arteta has sometimes been unwilling to do, because he's a bit of a Henderson Klopp kind of the guy where as long as he tries hard, we'll keep him in the squad. Nah, get that fucker out of here. He's not good enough. We need to be more ruthless like that.
Yeah, it's a good chance, man. There's a good chance. All right, let's move on from the Arsenal segment. Let's go on to the other big six clash, I guess, of the weekend. The quality level was absolute night and day compared to the City-Arsenal game. It was at Stamford Bridge on Saturday evening. Didn't watch it live, but did watch it afterwards and managed to find ways to watch clips and whatever else. United get the 1-0 win. Matheus Cunha scores in the last few minutes of the first half. Chelsea huffed and puffed, paused and hit the bar a couple of times, but did nothing really. 1-0 win. What do you, man, think about the Champions League race now? Because I think they're 8 points behind Liverpool. And more importantly, they're like joint on points with Brentford and a bunch of other teams that are in and around them. So, yeah, Reece is not here to give the Chelsea perspective. So I'll come and I'll ask you lot first. What do you reckon? Do you reckon Chelsea are dead now in terms of Champions League qualification hopes?
I can't even enjoy their demise fully, but yeah, I think Champions League is definite. I think Champions League is because Villa's picked up Villa's picked up wins as well. Like Villa's won. You guys have pretty much solidified yourself. Liverpool might be back in because we get five places. Is it still?
Maybe
still get
6.
5, I'm guessing, or maybe even 6. But yeah, I think the way they've been playing just hasn't they're not scoring as well. But to be fair, I did watch a part of that game against you guys, and as bad as they were, they did have chances, and there was points of the game where they could have, like the 1-0 was it could have been 1-1 very easily. So it wasn't like they weren't good, but they weren't like diabolical. But the fact they can't score a goal is what's causing them issues. And yeah, they just don't seem like big. Like Rosenior doesn't seem like he has any like hold on that team. I don't think anybody wants to play. Like Palmer has just been non-existent for. Like I mean, they had a free kick and I think you could hear like the anticipation. And then he's like the free kick. I've never seen such a pathetic attempt. He literally just hit straight into the wall. And I was like, that just sums up your entire season. And the lap were useless. Like he had some moments, but I think Chelsea is just. It is weird to see how bad they are, but it's also good. Like Garnacho. What concerns me is Garnacho could find his way to Arsenal, and that there's a path.
Don't put that out into the atmosphere. Take it back. Take it back immediately.
There's a pathway in my eyes, and it scares me because that guy is a terror. He is like there's a dribble I've seen going around. And he just runs, and Casemiro just casually jogs next to him, and it's like the easiest tackle you'll ever see a man make on a player. And I'm just like, I don't know how that's a starting winger for Chelsea, and I don't know how they spend so much money on him. So I don't know what Reece is going through. But I think hopefully he had enough enjoyment in the summer calling himself the world champions, because this season must have been very painful for him to watch, because they do not look like they have any idea. Yeah, and I think Champions League is definitely long gone.
Forget about Champions League. Can we say no, as in Chelsea should forget about the Champions League, definitely. But I actually think Liam Delap played all right, considering how poor they were as a team and how poorly I rate him generally. I was pleasantly.
He was coming up against a makeshift defense, though. Let's be honest.
No. The thing that I was gonna say in the segment is, Antony, I am sorry. Aiden Heaven,
he's a baller, bro.
Let's not get carried away.
You're welcome.
Right, he moved me.
He is.
He moved me. He played very, very well. He was exceptional. And there were a lot of eyes on him. Bagged himself a little versus caption. I seen I never really thought he wasn't a baller, but I did call him overrated because you were overrating him, in my opinion, at the time. And I'm apologizing for that now.
No. Two things can be true. Don't apologize for that. They if they want to over egg the pudding, they can. It doesn't mean that he's fucking world class.
No, he's not.
I didn't say that. No one said that.
He's probably better.
No one's over egging the pudding.
Come on now.
No. The thing is, bro, and I'm pretty sure I've said this before when we've met up in person, but Aiden Heaven looks a lot better than Lenioro. And yes. I'm not afraid to say that whatsoever. One costs 1 million and the other costs 65 fucking million. And one of them is pretty shook to win headers. And the other one absolutely clamped Delap every chance he had in that match. He pocketed him the whole game. And I don't think Delap was terrible. He was trying to be physical and whatever. And he probably thought he had a chance against Heaven and Mazraoui, because it makes kind of sense that you would think you'd get some change out of them. But Heaven absolutely had him in his pocket throughout the whole game. Whenever they had a duel, I can't remember one that Delap won. And you would imagine Delap's got the advantage in terms of he's a lot taller. He looks a lot more physically strong. But Heaven, no, he was good, man. I'm not going to overrate the pudding. He's still a prospect. He's still young. I've seen games where he just positionally was a bit all over the place. But I think he's an Athletic United writer kind of described different centre-backs as being cats and dogs. And like dog defenders are a bit more aggressive, front foot. They're going to just muzzle the attacker all the time whenever they get a chance. And cat defenders are more like about the positioning. If you think about Saliba and Gabriel, you could easily work out who's who, right? And like Heaven is way more of the like aggressive defender, which from my liking anyway, I always prefer those type of defenders to the ones who are a little bit more, kind of, I guess they think about the game a bit more just because you just want them to get stuck in. But no, he had a good game, man. And we still weren't good though. I'm still not going to go nuts. We were not good in that game. Like we scored from probably one of our only 2 or 3 attacking chances that we had. And it was a great finish by Cunha. But yeah, we were very wasteful other than that. Whenever we had a counter-attacking chance or we had a chance to actually hurt them, we didn't do much. Mbeumo wasn't looking great again. Sesko, I think his best moment was when he dummied it for the goal. But I mean, that stinks if that's your best moment. So I'll be honest about that. But now, makeshift. Kobe was all over the place, by the way. I thought he had a good game in midfield. So thank God he came back, because imagine Ugarte there. Fuck me. We would have definitely lost that game. So yeah, in terms of the result, in terms of a couple of performances from our like main players, it was good. But I'll be real with you guys. The best part of that fixture was all of the United players posting like their different one-on-one duels with Garnacho and just rinsing him after. That was class. If you want, go and look up Luke Shaw, look up Bruno, look up Heaven. Beautiful stuff. And I saw some clips as well at the end.
That said that was like the first time a player has ever been equally hated by both sets of fans. And it's the most true thing I've ever seen in my life, because the Chelsea fans hate him as well.
Bro, he's diabolical. He's a diabolical player.
He got slumped at one point and there was a big cheer and I was like, that's way too big a cheer to be the away fan.
That was definitely a combo. That was definitely a combo, bro.
Is Bruno good? Bruno's gonna break the record, don't it? And that breaks my heart. Like,
I don't know, man.
He's too away from equaling it.
It's ridiculous. I think he's got it, man. It's ridiculous, bro.
I don't know. I feel like
this.
That record is like the Bermuda Triangle. You get close to it and then you disappear. The amount of players I've seen who've got so close to that record, and then Ozil. Remember that season, Ozil, and he was just setting up Giroud, like
bro.
Every single game.
Bro. Don't bring this Giroud, bro.
We know what happened.
Exactly. Yeah. Ozil did what he had to do, bro.
We've got Sesko up front. We've got Mbeumo playing like he doesn't know which foot is left and which foot is right. It's very plausible that Bruno sets them all up umpteen times in these last 4 or 5 games.
All he needs to do is put the ball on Casemiro's head 3 more times.
I know. That's my hope. It's Casemiro.
Exactly.
Bro, that's my hope.
My God.
Bro, that's my hope. That's my hope. I'm thinking ethical assists. It's going to be difficult, but the set piece assists. I think that someone said that Bruno to Casemiro is up there with like one of the most frequent combinations for goals in the Premier League this season, and they're pretty much all corners or free kicks lofted to the back post. Casemiro header into the opposite corner. So
I've never seen Casemiro score this much in his entire career, bro. Like every time I put him in that game, it seems he's always scoring. I'm like, when did he get this trait where he's like a fox in the box all of a sudden?
You see Ryan Cherky's feet. That is Casemiro's head. He can put the ball anywhere on the goal with his head.
It's ridiculous. Don't know how you man. But yeah, I'm scared of that.
Yeah, it's he might, man. He might. But yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if he got really close, but didn't quite get over the line. But yeah, I mean, in terms of defense, I think we're probably going to play a similar lineup. I mean, unless Yoro comes back to go alongside Heaven. I think Martinez has got a 3-match ban now for that disgraceful hair pulling bullshit that happened the other week. But I mean, you know what? I'm kind of pissed off at him as well. He's been injured for so long, and then the prick comes back and does that. There's something Romero-ish about this guy. It's starting to piss me off.
This is one of those mad stats about him. That was his first red card for you lot in the Premier League.
No, I know, but he's always injured and doing dumb shit as well. So he finds a way to just never be on the pitch. So I'm starting to get a little bit impatient with him, man. If Heaven keeps playing like this, fuck him off. Let's keep Heaven in the lineup and put him with Maguire, because Maguire should be coming back. Hopefully, that's the only. If I could hear myself 2 years ago saying this right now, I wouldn't have believed you.
Best defender in both boxes, don't they say? Best defender in both boxes. Yeah.
Apparently, yeah, self-proclaimed. But yeah, anyway, it looks like Champions League is sorted, not third. We obviously, Villa got that last gasp winner against Sunderland, which pissed me off. And then Liverpool got the last gasp winner against Everton as well, which pissed me off immediately after that. So yeah, that was a rough one, both for the prediction league, but also for Champions League race. But I think I can't see a way that Chelsea turn this around, lads. I mean, I feel bad for Reece in isolation, but
I don't.
that is such a
feel
bad.
Why?
I like
bad for Reece. Yeah, we can like him, but
Reece,
look how he was
on a
gloating in
personal
the
level.
summer. Look how he gloated in the summer about gold badges and being world champions. This is
like that Gary Neville argument that we made in the overrated chat, right? Just because he mocks himself means that I think he's less shit. No, I don't care if Reece wants to hold his hands up and say that his club's a mockery. Hold it. Because you said you were the world champions. You're putting pictures of Arsenal bottles in the chat. You're holding this, my friend. Your team is absolutely in the mud, and you better stay there for good.
That's a concern for. I bet they might come back though. They're just going to splash money again. They've still got some good players there. Like if they make the right signings, they could and a good manager, they could be back next year. Like it doesn't take them.
Nothing they've done in the entire era of this ownership makes you feel like that's what they're going to do this summer.
That's the only problem. Yeah,
they're going to 12 players and sign 14 and be back on this shit. Enzo, Cole Palmer, one of them two. Caicedo maybe. One of them three goes for a big money amount, and then they get a bunch of prospects in, probably from Strasbourg.
It's like or Sporting or something like that. I think the biggest is just a manager. I reckon a proper manager could get more out of them players.
Exactly.
I feel bad for Rosinha because but you lot are going to be ruthless again for me saying that. But he's not qualified to be in that job. He could be a decent coach. He needs to go out there and continue at Strasbourg and Hull on the level that he was going at. But
Amarim, bro, out here just throwing out sympathy to everyone and everyone.
They need proper managers, man.
I feel bad for Liam Rosinha. Oh, I feel bad for Chelsea. Sharp,
because he's been completely destroyed. Like he couldn't turn down that job. He was in the golden cage or whatever. Like he couldn't say no to that. He was guaranteed if he said no, they're firing him.
What happened to standing on business? He should have.
He's not experienced enough.
The multi-club model. Someone would have rate this guy. He's got the LinkedIn profile for it.
Nah, man. He's not fooling me, man.
But Chelsea, they have proven, as bad as they can say, hiring, Maresca in a vacuum was a good hire. He's a good manager. So, I think that's but somebody identified him. Yeah, but they identified him as a good manager, though. So that's what I mean. That's why I think as somehow the senior goes and they're fine.
The theory was good though. Hire someone who's worked with Pep. That works.
Works is still to be decided based on our experience.
The bigger picture is Leicester manager who just about scraped them up to the Premier League, had virtually no experience. This is the thread that they like to go down, and they'll just go. They'll just go and get.
And it's working.
No, but Carrick is an interim. Let's see if they really do that. If they really do hire him afterwards, then I'll hold my hands up and I'll equally say United have gone down the same route. But Chelsea, nah, they've got to get the manager right, and they've got to get someone in proper who's got Razor. What Razor says, I do agree with. Someone who's got principles to try and fight back against some of the bullshit that they're doing, and actually have the real LinkedIn sway to be able to convince them what they're doing is wrong. Because Rosinha doesn't have it like that. He's not able to convince them. He's just happy to be there. And you're not going to get a manager actually succeeding to just be happy to be there, man. You know what I mean? He's smiling, giggling after losing every game.
They'll take the piss more. Yeah. Kem's not here, so I can do these kind of analogies freely. But imagine you're when someone isn't used to pulling babes of a certain caliber.
So rude. You put that disclaimer before you
walk all over them, yeah. That's what Rosinha is right now. This is
true.
This quite evidently Liam Rosinia's first bad beat, and he's getting walked all over. And he needs to pattern up. He needs to stand it up. Stand it up. You know what I mean? He's not going to do it. But Chelsea need a gaffer that's going to be able to do that, bruv. They're a big football club, supposedly, and yeah. But do you know what? I love it because this is all the stuff that makes Arsenal's title running so entertaining and fulfilling to these men, innit? The fact that they feel no hope. It's the same thing with Liverpool. It's the same thing with Chelsea. Do you know what? Have you noticed, man, them get a lot less chat from United fans, specifically recently? It's almost like being able to watch your club, like, not like this, makes you care less about what we're doing. Isn't that funny? So yeah, for every bit of nonsense that all of the Chelsea fans talk, I wish them 25 more Alejandro Garnachos and 85 more Liam Martinez.
Bro, could be coming. Yeah, could be coming for them. All right, let's move on to Everton, Liverpool, the Merseyside Derby. Now, this one really fucked me off. I have to be honest. And I don't really give that much of a shit about Everton, to be honest, but I've definitely relied on them at least getting a draw, hoping that they might get a win. And yeah, they fucked it. Salah scores to put them ahead after, I don't know if you man saw the Iliman Ndiaye goal that got disallowed. I do want to shout out Cody Gakpo though, because that was a great through ball. And I wanted to do the same thing as well for Kem. I wanted to do the same thing for Kem. Where's his Gakpo hate now?
I think
he was decent, man. And that through ball was class. And you heard fucking no noise in the group chat, anything about it whatsoever from that scoundrel. Because that was, if any of his favorite players did that, he'd be creaming. He'd be sending all of us DMs, disappearing ones because he doesn't want to stand behind it. And bro, it would be mad.
It's so
he was good.
The Gakpo hate is real. Yeah, no.
Yeah, sure. Gakpo was good in that game.
Facts. And I saw Gakpo playing, and I was like, "Is this the guy that they complain about every week?" I don't understand.
Ungrateful bastards, man.
But you know what it is? Their precious Egyptian king got his goal against the run of play, gifted to him. But like it was a good finish nonetheless. And they won. So like, we're assuming that he watches and analyzes football at that level if we're talking about Kemp. So
he was definitely there live, by the way. So he probably saw it all.
I said watches at that level. You can see, but to comprehend,
you don't appreciate what you're watching.
You know what I'm saying?
You're saying it's just like the FM.
Symphony
It's
doesn't
like
know.
It's like the FM dots or the Sabutio dots. Like all he's seeing is just like flashing colors. He's not understanding what's going on. You know what? I wouldn't put it past him. He probably had no clue unless he's colorblind and he couldn't tell who's who. But they managed to get the win. Van Dijk last minute header. He's a prick because that ruined my fucking prediction league correct score as well. Well, yeah, typical. They celebrated it like they won the World Cup. It was shameless, but you know what? They're going to get Champions League. They're going to spend another 500 million because of this little flurry of results that they're managing to get. So, yeah, fair enough.
They're going to keep Slot.
Hope so.
100%.
Slot it.
I got a hot take. I got a hot take though. You might not like it, but I do like it. And a baller who I think who I'd actually love to see play for Arsenal is Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. Because I think he's absolute.
I thought you were going to say Njai.
Can you kick him out?
No, Njai as well. Njai as well. But I think Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall
and can play left.
No. I hear it. But listen. Because Dewsbury-Hall is a player. And I don't think he gets enough respect for what he does. That Chelsea move was stupid. But he's a very good footballer. And Njai, of course, Njai will be great. But again, I don't like obviously. But I'm saying in terms because our midfield that kind of progression. I'm just saying a bit of KDH in midfield next to Rice. I think that's actually if it's not Lewis Skelly, I'm not mad at KDH over there. That was just my hot take. It's just a hot take.
The weirdest guy ever.
It could be lukewarm. It could be a lukewarm take, but that's just my take for there. That's what I'm saying. But I think he's a very good player.
You just talk about signing bad boys. And you say
away. Stop it. Come on.
He's
I was
decent.
just saying-
He's decent. He's
saying-
a decent player.
He is decent. It's just we just spent ages talking about what we need. Our midfield needs
Yeah.
rotation. We need
That's a
Lingman
crazy
who
shout
can
after
create
what we
goals.
said.
Did you see Njai's disallowed goal?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
he's
he's
a
a
player.
baller.
Enjoy his talent, man. He's
We
crazy.
have-
His
we
feet are
have
crazy.
Players in our front five like selection that I can see doing that. Yeah, one of them is injured right now, Mr. Starboy, sir. Yeah, and the other one is Eze. Like outside of that, I can't see anybody else in our front
Yeah.
five scoring that goal. Like the way, brother, player.
His feet. Yeah, no, he is.
Player.
I just don't know how they don't beat Liverpool though. I feel like they just always bottle it against Liverpool. Those Merseyside derbies just aren't good to them. It's like every time you think they've got something for them, and then Liverpool somehow just snatch it from the claws of the like when they might to bottle. I'm like, this is perfect, and then
the Premier League
that
script.
stupid header. It's oh man, Everton man, and then but they're gonna have a big say in the freaking title race as well. I think they got to play City, don't they, as well? And then well, we've got so just freaking hope. It can only help, man. It can only help. But no, Liverpool, I don't have any. Yeah, I'm sure Ken was happy or not happy because that means, like you said, Slot stays in for another year. But
he was
Yeah.
happy
Can't
because
decide.
we lost. He was happy because
he
we
can't
lost.
decide.
Because we matter infinitely more to him than
such a good point, actually.
he's only a Liverpool fan performatively for like 25 minutes every time he goes to the stadium. Do you know what I mean? Sends a flurry of selfies to prove that he was there and that he's not a Metline Scouser. And then
Then walks away.
back to watching YouTube highlights.
He threw his bra on the pitch for Van Dijk as well.
It was a good header, though. I'll give it to Van Dijk. It's a good.
You know what? I was so disappointed with Tarkowski, man. Get your fucking
Yeah,
head on the
yeah,
ball,
he
man.
was so weak. He was
got
so
completely. He got absolutely destroyed for that. I was disappointed in him. But you're right though. Everton, when it comes to Liverpool, they really do better at Anfield than they do at home, and
Yeah.
like they still somehow find a way to fuck it, even if they've played better in the game, or they, it's at least a relatively fair and equal game. They find a way to screw themselves over. And yeah, Van Dijk scored in like the 101st minute or something. So literally they were so close to getting a draw. But yeah, man, Liverpool, I think the only solace for us rival hater fans is that I really do think they will keep Slot if they get Champions League. Because as much as Ken wants to deny it when he's on the pod and when he's 7 pints deep or whatever, what excuse he was given the other day on the group chat, like the Liverpool fans love their managers. The managers are like king for them. So he's gonna have to come out and say something mad or really crash out and like drop them down to 10th or 12th or something diabolical like that for them to sack him. I can't see him finishing 5th and getting Champions League or 4th and them sacking him, even if they've had a bumpy ride this season. I just can't see it, man. The top Reds and all those guys that really care about the values and they don't live on the Metropolitan line like Kem, they will keep him in a job.
To be fair, I think the fact he won over Salah means he's going to keep.
It tells you everything.
Yeah, exactly. I think the second he won that battle and like the Salah basically got pushed out, like I think that was like the kind of like we're in it with you until you kind of like bottle it completely. So yeah,
I think that goes to Ance's point, though, isn't it? That even Salah, who's their greatest ever Premier League player,
exactly,
they chose Baldy over him. So
Salah's
respectfully speaking,
that probably wasn't that difficult a decision in the sense that Salah is their best ever Premier League player, but like it is no secret that like time goes forward in one direction. And I think if you're looking at this from like I think I said it before about this situation, but I think if you're looking at the reason I don't think Slot's going to get the boot from them is this era, the Salah Van Dijk era, the Klopp era, like they've accepted that there's going to have to be a changing of the guard. They tried to do it smoothly and have a little transition, but they also tried to give Klopp a farewell trophy tour. Do you know what I mean? Like it was meant to be that they're invested in this project, innit? They haven't dropped. We're joking about them breaking a transfer record twice in one window, but they haven't dropped 4 for 100 mil, like just to be like, oh well, that's not working. Next thing, do you know what I mean? Like, I think they're in it for the long haul, and like, yeah, Jonts, I think you're completely correct. I think that's why they were like, Salah, we really, not to be mean or rude or anything, Mr. Mo Salah, sir, but
it's time.
But think about that though. Just deep that, because you are right. He's fallen off a cliff this season. You'll still get decent numbers for someone who's gone through that aging process. But think about what Salah has given them, and think about what Slot has given them, and then think about what they've both done this season. Slot's also been shit this season. It's not only Salah who's been shit this season. Slot's been shit this season. So if you're looking at them both like that, Salah's given them way more joy. You know, there's all those stats about the different, hate crime rates and whatever else going down in Liverpool. That's because of Salah, bro. You think the bald hate crime rates have gone down because of Slot? They don't give a fuck. So back the players, bro. Back the players, but they back the manager. And I okay, whatever. I hear it. You've got different fan bases acting different ways. It's actually probably more respectable to just like back your managers and not just chop and change and do like a Chelsea thing or like what we did under Woodward. But I don't know, man. I'm personally ecstatic. Keep Slot, man. All Dutch managers. That's the way forward. All right. Let's wrap the pod up here. We'll do a quick prediction league update though first. We've obviously got a few more games left of the game week to go through, but there's been changes, bro. An important one at the top of the table. So we owe it to the few listeners and fans that we have to update them. Yeah. So. First is Reese. His team might be shit, but he's decent at this. So he's got 114 points and 21 correct scores. Jonts is now in second, also with 114 points, but 18 correct scores. Io's in third with 107 points and 16 correct scores. Okay. Kem is fourth with 106 points, and 17 correct scores. Razor's fifth with 99 points and 11 correct scores. I'm sixth with 97 points and 9 correct scores. And Nash hasn't moved a wink because he didn't send his predictions in. So, that's what we're looking like now. We'll do another pod at the end of the week, wrapping up these midweek fixtures. You obviously got Burnley, Man City, which we'll talk a little bit about because it's obviously influencing the title race. And then we've got, I think it's FA Cup. Is it FA Cup on the weekend? Well, there's something going on the weekend. That we'll obviously cover in that pod as well. But for this week's pod, we'll wrap it up here. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, drop us a like, leave a comment and share the video. And if you're listening on the audio podcasting platforms, please follow us and give us a 5-star review. All that stuff helps. And we'll catch you guys at the end of the week. Take care, everyone.